practicing Bhakti Yoga, I will try to do it not for my sake, but as a service to God. And if I achieve perfection in Bhakti Yoga, I will be doing everything which I do, even breathing or sleeping, not for myself, but for God. My name is Bhakti Vijnana Goswami. I am a sannyasi in International Society for Krishna Consciousness. I am practicing Bhakti Yoga for many years of my life. Basically, this tradition about changing the consciousness. It's called Krishna Consciousness Movement. And we want to change the normal consciousness on God consciousness. To be conscious of God, to understand the meanings of life and the happenings of this world from God's perspective. Change of the consciousness implies change of our identity. And usually the name represents identity. Our previous name, which was given to us by our parents, signifies our material identity. And therefore, when we come to this tradition and we are serious enough to commit ourselves to this path, to this practice, it signifies that we want to change our identity. We want to become spiritual beings rather than materially oriented beings. And therefore, we change the name. And my name specifically means Bhakti means love, Bhakti means devotion, Bhakti means service. And Vijnana means realization, experience, and Goswami means somebody who can control his senses. So the name basically is, it's not a name, it's rather a title. So it signifies something, and that's according to our tradition. We change the name to aspire for certain qualities reflected in the name. Our movement is firmly based on ancient scriptures, specifically on Bhagavad Gita for beginners and Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavata Purana for those people who are serious practitioners. There are some other scriptures like Upanishads or Dharma Shastras or some other things, but these two main philosophical books, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, are the basis of our movement. I study these books as much as I can, and when I preach, I share my understanding, my realization. I apply these teachings in my life, and also I share with people what works, what doesn't work, and how the best way to apply it in the life, and what are the difficulties and impediments. In any process, you have the theory, which is written in the books. You have the experience, which is coming from the practice. During the experience, you have certain impediments or certain obstacles which you encounter in the past. And you can teach the theory, how it works. You can explain how to apply this theory in your life, in a particular situation of life, in an extreme situation of life, in whatever situation is there. And also you explain to people what obstacles they will encounter and how to overcome these obstacles. So basically when I preach, I speak about these things. And also there is perhaps another important aspect of what should be taught, that is the goal of our endeavors and aspirations, which should be firmly established in order to achieve it. So that's what I'm talking about while I'm speaking with people and sharing my realizations.
Krishna, Krishna, Hare, Hare.
Yoga means connection and Bhakti means love. So Bhakti Yoga is the process which facilitates connection with God through love. It's a path of love, it's a path of service, it's a path of surrender, it's a path of selflessness. normal yoga is the process which helps person to isolate his mind and quiet his mind, and by quieting mind one can achieve some experience beyond the senses. Some amazing experiences coming when somebody is completely absorbed. By this process you can only achieve your soul, isolate your soul from the turbulent and agitated mind, and understand the reality of the soul, the existence of the soul, the consciousness which is emanating from the soul. But Bhakti Yoga is the higher path, because it not only helps you to understand yourself, but also helps you to connect with God, higher consciousness, your small, minute individual consciousness, to bring into the union with the absolute consciousness called God or Krishna. Bhakti Yoga or Krishna consciousness is the work with consciousness, and that's the beauty of this process, because in other processes you change something externally, like in classical yoga you do some postures, you do pranayama, you do certain things which you normally would not do. In karma yoga you do some rituals, you chant certain incantations and hymns, and you do fire sacrifices. You change your activity. But in Krishna consciousness or Bhakti Yoga, you try to change your consciousness. You may continue doing the same thing which you were doing before, but with different consciousness, with different motivation. So the essence of Bhakti Yoga is to change consciousness and live the life which you lived before, but with the different intentions, different goal in mind, and different motivation. If before I was doing something for my sake, if I'm practicing Bhakti Yoga, I will try to do it not for my sake, but as a service to God. And if I achieved perfection in Bhakti Yoga, I will be doing everything which I do, even breathing or sleeping, not for myself, but for God. So as far as the technicality is concerned, the processes, how you change your consciousness from selfish consciousness concentrated upon our needs and desires to universal, very broad consciousness which includes even God in your picture and brings about love. Technically it's very simple. You chant the holy name of God, and by chanting the holy name of God, through this vibration you harmonize your being with the will of God. You live a sattvic lifestyle. It means that you're vegetarian, you sleep less, you go to bed early, you get up early, you meditate every day. So in one sense it's the change, external change, but it's just some practices, very important practices, but the essence of these practices is to change consciousness. And it's not that you're only practicing Bhakti Yoga 1 hour a day or 2 hours a day in the morning when you get up and meditate. The idea is that you will practice Krishna consciousness 24 hours a day by the means of changing consciousness. We chant mantra which is called Maha Mantra, and the sound of this Maha Mantra, vibration of this Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This Maha Mantra is coming from Upanishads, specifically from Kalisantarana Upanishad. And it's different from other mantras, because other mantras, they require certain conditions to be fulfilled in order to be effective. But this is not mantra proper, it's the name. All the words in this mantra are in vocative case, whereas in other mantras usually the name of God is in dative case. So Krishna means O Krishna, Hare means O Hari. These all names of God. Ram means O Ram, The meaning of this invocation is that we're trying to address God directly. We're trying to call upon Him. We're trying to invoke His mercy upon us. We're doing it while counting on our beats, which are there. Every day we have to chant a certain number of these mantras to keep our consciousness being cleansed through this vibration. One essential part of our spiritual practice is chanting of mantra on the beats, but even more powerful process is congregational chanting, when so many people come together and loudly chant the same mantra. It gives an amazing effect of binding people of different creeds, different understandings, different ages, different walks of life, because they're all invoking mercy of God, they're all chanting the same words, and they're all tuning up with each other. And that practice is very powerful, because by this practice you can concentrate your mind completely. By this practice you learn how to cooperate with others. You feel very close connection with other fellow people who chant the same mantra. You feel so charged by the beauty of the music and the sound of mantra. And therefore this practice is considered to be the main practice for this age. In this age, meditation is hardly possible because our minds are very disturbed, our body is weak and we cannot sit for a long time to achieve something in meditation. Samadhi is very difficult because the mind is very unsteady and very restless, and the food is not so sattvic, the environment is quite disturbed in itself. But kirtan is so powerful that no matter how disturbed you are in your mind, no matter how distracted you are, no matter what you ate today, if you come to kirtan and try to tune in the sound of mantra, you will feel immense blissful feeling, because sound of mantra is not different from God. And ultimately when we chant, we get the connection with God, and through this connection we get the most important quality of God, His mercy and His bliss, His ananda, His immense joy, which is His nature. So that's the best practice, and everyone, even complete newcomer who doesn't believe in anything, can feel a lot of enthusiasm and joy just by joining kirtan.